There is no sort of, carbon copy type person, and I think, for me, I want to tell people actually that if I can do it, then they can as well. My name is Louisy. I have worked at DAZN for the last 6.5 years, and I work in the rights acquisition team. Basically, DAZN is a digital sports broadcaster, so instead of it being a satellite or cable delivery, everything's available online. My job is to identify which leagues and federations and content we should have within our services, and then go out and try and persuade those rights holders to put their content onto DAZN. There is obviously a lot of media attention around the Premier League and the Champions League and La Liga, and they will always be really important, but actually in a lot of territories there are some secondary sports that mean a lot to people, either because they played it in school or on the weekend go with their grandparents or their parents to go and watch it, and that maybe don't get the exposure that they need to. So how do you figure out which is that sport that maybe hasn't had the attention that it needs, that actually people really want to see and can be really beneficial to have it in our platform as well? I've never really been a person to have a plan. After uni I went travelling and did various things, which was an amazing experience. So I was sitting on my bunk bed in Kenya while I was volunteering for a project, and I saw an ad for a job. It was a commercial graduate in the sports industry, and I was like, oh, that sounds great, because I've always been interested in the commercial side of things and how companies make money and all of that stuff, but I'd never really considered that you could do that in sport, which I also loved. Filled in the application, sent it off, and didn't really think anything of it. And then, went to recruitment day, managed to get the job, and from there it's been an interesting journey, because I started out, the most junior person in the team in 2012, and now it's 2019, and I'm, obviously working on really big deals and launching DAZN in certain territories, and sort of typical person that you might find in the commercial side of the sports industry. I went to a state school. I am from a mixed Caribbean heritage. My parents are both from really working class families. I didn't know anybody that worked in the industry, but actually I think some of those things maybe work in my favour sometimes, and it gives you a different perspective and allows you to maybe come at things from a different way. And this is sport, and ultimately our customers are the people that are sitting at home, so every person's background and every person's experience is relevant. I'm one of 3 daughters, and my mum has been a huge football fan her whole life. But I was the one that, for whatever reason, became interested in football with her. Me and my mum have been going to the football together since I was old enough to go, which is a really interesting dynamic, because a lot of people, it's dads and sons, but for me it's me and my mum. I think sports is great for building that team aspect. I've really enjoyed always participating in sports. I was the only girl in my football team. I was the only girl in my cricket team in primary school, and pretty much every other sport that was going. And then obviously the older I got, I found a women's football team, and then I started playing hockey. So for me, team sports has always been a really important part of my life. And then as you get older, actually you realise the stuff that you learn playing in a team is stuff that translates into your future career. It's not been easy. One of the things that is really hard that you can't get away from is looking young, being younger. It's not that it's something that stops people from wanting to do things with you, but naturally people gravitate towards people that are like them. Particularly in our industry, when there's a lot of social events, there's a lot of drinks receptions or conferences or dinners. That initially can be quite hard. You start to think, oh, how am I going to speak to these people, or what am I going to have in common, or you sort of get it. It can sometimes get in your mind a little bit about am I going to fit in? That was a real challenge at first, and I think, don't be afraid to say, this is new to me, can you introduce me, or I'm really interested in trying to meet this person. And I think, try and get in touch. The benefit of social media and LinkedIn is you can search for people, you can find people, just go for it. Don't be afraid. I know it's hard, but just go. What's the worst that can happen? My advice would be to any younger person, don't be afraid to be yourself fundamentally. You're going to meet loads of people that are different to you, and that's okay. Having a different point of view or having a different opinion is good. Be confident in yourself. Obviously it takes a bit of time when you start in an industry that you don't know, like I did. I didn't know anything about the sports industry when I started. I didn't know anything about broadcasting. Learn, like ask questions, like no question is a stupid question. Try and build up that expertise as quickly as you can. Work hard, and your thinking is a thing that everybody else has thought before. And I know sometimes you don't necessarily want to show your vulnerability to like your boss, but actually having someone that you can confide in that can just tell you it's going to be all right, or sometimes to say actually get on with it, or you know, somebody that can give you some real honest feedback, I think is really valuable. Be reliable, because if you're reliable, people will come to you with the exciting projects because they know that you can deliver. With a lot of jobs, and I think not just in the sports industry, people think you need to have a specific skill or a specific expertise or a specific background or network, or you need your dad to know someone, and actually like you don't. I mean, this job that I'm doing, yes, I've been working in the industry for 6.5 years, but anybody could have come in at the level that I came in without knowing anything, and you learn and you build as you go. I think it's really important to tell that message to people, that actually just because you don't know someone who's done that job, or just because you never thought that it's something that you can do, like you can.